Meeting will come to order. Let's get through some of this paperwork while we're waiting for a few other members. As a preliminary matter, this is Robert Bouchard, Chairman of the Lakeville Conservation Commission. Permit me to confirm that all members and persons anticipated on the agenda are present and can hear me. So members, when I call your name, please respond in the affirmative. Joseph.
Aye.
Nancy.
Affirmative.
Mark. No, huh? John.
Aye.
And Josh. All right. We have no staff members, but we do have some anticipated speakers. Please respond. Rich Rayom.
Here.
Jamie Bissonette.
Here.
Nancy Kitchen.
Here.
And I have two abutters listed, Dave Morrissey.
Here.
And Don Senna. No, huh? All right. Good evening, everyone. This open meeting of the Lakeville Conservation Commission is being conducted remotely, consistent with Governor Baker's executive order on March 12th, 2020, due to the current state of emergency in the Commonwealth due to the outbreak of the COVID-19 virus. In order to mitigate the transmission of the COVID-19 virus, we have been advised and directed by the Commonwealth to suspend public gatherings. And as such, the governor's order suspends the requirement of the open meeting law to have all meetings in a publicly accessible physical location. Further, all members of public bodies are allowed and encouraged to participate remotely. The order, which you can find posted with the agenda materials for this meeting, allows public bodies to meet entirely remotely so long as reasonable public access is afforded so that the public can follow along with the deliberations of the meeting. Ensuring public access does not ensure public participation unless such participation is required by law. This meeting will not feature such comment. Please note that this meeting is being recorded and that some attendees are participating by video conference. Accordingly, please be aware that other folks may be able to see you, and take care not to screen share your computer. Anything that you broadcast may be captured by the recording. All supporting materials that have been provided members of this body are available on the town's website unless otherwise noted. The public is encouraged to follow along using the posted agenda unless I note otherwise. We're now turning to the first item on the agenda. Before we do so, permit me to cover some ground rules for effective and clear conduct of our business and to ensure accurate meeting minutes. I will introduce each speaker on the agenda. After they conclude their remarks, the chair will go down the line of members, inviting each by name to provide any comment, questions, or motions. Please hold until your name is called. Further, please remember that to mute your phone or computer when you are not speaking. Please remember to speak clearly and in a way that helps generate accurate minutes. For any response, please wait until the chair yields the floor to you and state your name before speaking. If members wish to engage in discussion with other members, please do so through the chair, taking care to identify yourself. And that's that. Did all of you have an opportunity to get the materials that I put in the vestibule?
Yep.
Yep.
Okay, good. All right, so let's get started. First on the agenda is an NOI. This is for 59 Harding, also 39 Cross Street, and that's with Zenith Consulting.
Good evening, Jamie Bissonette from Zenith Consulting Engineers for the record. Mr. Chairman, if at this time, if I may share the screen, I can kind of go over my presentation for everyone.
Sure, go ahead.
All right. Let me just get this situated. Here we go. All right. So in front of you, what we have is the definitive
Jamie, to
subdivision.
interrupt a little, can we bring that up in size?
We can. Let's see. Oh, bear with me. There we go. And I'm gonna shrink it down just a little bit, Joe. It's a balancing act here. Maybe 50%. Is that better?
Didn't change. Didn't change.
Mine got smaller.
How about now?
It's not moving.
Try unsharing and resharing.
You got it. Stop share. And reshare. How's that?
Better.
Lot
Oh,
better.
yeah,
That looks
that's
A lot
good.
better. There we
All
go.
right. Perfect. All right, so in front of you, what we have is a definitive subdivision, Form C, entitled Bella's Way. Bella's Way is a proposed 3-lot subdivision in which we're taking Lot 1, which is technically a Form A lot, with 2 lots in the rear off of what will be a private right-of-way with waivered construction practices, which hopefully will be granted by the planning board. As you notice, Lot 1, what we are doing is we're planning on utilizing the private roadway itself for access onto Cross Street. We're also going to access the 2 rear lots via 1 driveway each. Lots 2 and 3 each consist of a minimum of 4 acres, and Lot 1 consists of greater than 70,000 square feet. All 3 lots have been perked and surveyed, and on this plan, we're showing conceptual dwelling locations with septic systems and conceptual wells as well. What we're looking for under the notice of intent tonight is work for the roadway, the associated drainage, and also the 2 limited projects for the crossings to gain access to the houses on lots 2 and 3. First, the drainage itself. In the front of the site, we have a small section of trench drain, which then comes back via a pipe to a manhole and discharges with a flare end to a grass swale that ends up in a non-jurisdictional isolated depression. Part of that depression is going to be filled in. In your packets, you'll see the calculations showing that the depression itself is non-jurisdictional. The main part of the drainage for the site, though, because this takes in a very small piece of water, the main portion of the drainage is actually this area in here with a catch basin. That's the low point for our road. It comes through a deep sump catch basin, discharges with a flared end into a 4-bay, and then into a drainage basin. Drainage basin has an outlet structure, which is a 4-inch pipe. That 4-inch pipe discharges to a swale, and that swale then enters into the resource area and goes under this driveway via 2 12-inch pipes. As part of this scope, where the 2 limited project crossings, we have areas of minimal access, 20 feet wide for state fire marshal code on both. Each one we're providing 12-inch ADS pipes with greater than a foot of cover, so therefore they exceed H20 loading capacity. And then we have 3-to-1 slopings on the sides to ensure that we're doing minimum disturbance available. As part of the system, we're actually creating a micro pool in the front of this side here to help just stabilize things as things come back and the wetlands take hold in these disturbed areas. This will help with any type of sediment that may happen during the construction process. Now, if I may, I'd like to switch to a different view to go into, well, I guess we might as well look at the profile for the roadway. The roadway is actually going to be pretty flat. As you can see, 1% pitch in 2 directions, and the entry level has about a 4% pitch, and that is for a very short distance, but even a 4% pitch is very flat. What we're doing is we're taking the water that's coming towards our site, we're bringing it down, and we're picking up with the catch basin and putting it through the treatment and then discharging it. And we're planning to be able to pick all that up, the water that's shedding westerly and northerly. What I wanted to get to was the replication plan. Here we go. So as part of our replication, we have 2 impact areas. You can see impact area 1, which is hatched, and then impact area 2, which is also hatched. These are our limited project crossings. We've created 2 wetland replication areas, the first one being here, and the second one being here. We have greater than a 1-to-1 replication area. It's similar in topography. It's similar in shape, similar in size, greater than the 1-to-1 requirement. So we feel that it meets all of the criteria for justification. Also with our alternatives analyses, we also demonstrate how we feel that these are the best areas with the least amount of impact for said crossings. Back to the roadway itself, one of the things I wanted to point out that most people don't understand unless it's explained is that our roadway itself is going to be a 14-foot wide paved road with a 6-foot wide gravel berm. And the point of that is minimum construction, minimum impervious area. This is going to look more like a driveway than it is a roadway, but it will be a private roadway owned by the 3 lots 1, 2, and 3, in some form of an ownership, whether it be a common roadway maintenance agreement or a condo association. We do have an application and a copy of this into Natural Heritage. We've been working with Natural Heritage for well over a year on 5 Harding Street and part of this project itself. I don't think that there's going to be any issue. They are having us lock up the majority of the property with a conservation restriction long term. So I feel that the areas, they've already kind of delineated with us the areas they want to keep, and we've adhered to that. So I'd be happy to try to answer any questions if you have any.
Okay, thank you. We're gonna run down the list of names and see if we do have any comments as required. So first off, Joseph, any comments?
No questions.
No, you good? All right, Mark's still absent. All right, how about John?
You're keeping all the water off Cross Street.
Yes.
Everything's
Yes, we are.
contained.
Yeah, I guess the proper way to say it, John, would be we're not going to add any water to Cross
Right.
Street. We're putting in a trench drain at the very end to pick up it's like 100 square feet of asphalt going in that direction.
Yeah.
But yeah, we have no increase in water going in that direction, nor flow or volume.
Okay. So this NOI is just for the road.
It's for the road plus the 2 driveway crossings and the associated drainage and grading.
And how far
The way
off how far off the wetlands are you with the houses? Are you going to
The
need?
houses, this one is greater than 50 feet. You can see in this vicinity, John, this is the 100-foot setback.
Okay.
We're well outside of the 200-foot riparian. The 200-foot riparian falls way back in this vicinity.
Yep.
But we do have some 100-foot buffer. So as far as lots 1 and lots 2, we'll be filing additional notice of intents for each single family
each
house.
Okay.
That's correct.
Okay. I think that's all I have.
All right, Nancy?
I have a whole bunch. Did you say it hasn't been approved by the planning board yet?
No, planning board hasn't had a meeting in probably 3 months. So while we're submitted to them, we have not been heard by them. So I would respectfully request, even though we don't have a DEP file number either, but I'd like to keep the meeting open because I'd like to hear their comments before closing out and getting an order of conditions.
Okay, because I was wondering if Nick Laney was going to look at the drainage calculations for the planning board, because otherwise I would recommend that we do that. But if the planning board's doing it, I'd be just as happy to get a copy of the planning board's peer review from Nick Laney.
If I may, if this is going to be something that the board would like to have done, I would prefer if you want Nick Laney to look at it regardless of whether one of the 2 boards ask for it, I
Yeah.
would ask that you request it so that I can get it started, because I don't know when the next planning board meeting will be. And I'd
Okay.
rather get a jump on it and address their questions, his questions now.
All right, I was going to call Nick Laney and see if he had time or if he had already looked at it, but it was already like 6 o'clock. I wasn't going to
Yeah.
call him at 6 o'clock.
He has not looked at it. I did speak with Nick on another project a few weeks ago, and he indicated that he does have some time
Okay,
So we can definitely run this by him. I'd be happy to get it into his hands and get my client to okay having him review it.
okay. What's the other thing? Natural Heritage, you sent it out on the 14th. It's kind of hard with Zoom to see green cards and stuff.
Yes.
But it looked from the application like you sent it out on the 14th, so they'd have until the June 14th to respond.
They do. And again, with the government's order, they may have longer. They've been presented with the concept of this for months and months. I'm not overly concerned with them, but I do know we need approval. I think that we'll probably get their okay before we have planning boards.
Okay. Wetland replication. I don't even think we've probably looked at the order of conditions we have for wetland replications. I think we would, if you're not gonna close at this meeting, maybe we can look it up and put them together so you can look at them before it goes, because Jamie, you know,
I
and
do.
Joe will attest to this too. It doesn't work very often.
Yep.
So I would like to see it work, but usually what it is asked for is for a professional to oversee it. Who's gonna oversee this? This is pretty extensive. Who's gonna oversee the wetland replication?
Sure. Well, I mean, the total replication on this, I think, still falls under 4,000 square feet, Nancy.
Yeah, it
Well,
does. It's 30 something, 36, 30.
Yeah, it's in that ballpark. So
Yep.
I mean, I have no problem overseeing it as long as my client, yes, 3,600 replication and about 3,000 disturbed. I have no problem doing the oversight or my office as long as my client okays that, and I can have an answer for you next time for the next
Okay.
meeting if he'll allow that.
Okay. All right. All right. I think that was it for me.
Okay, thank you. No Josh, and that's it. So any other discussion?
Well, should we say we'd like Nick Laney to look at it? Can I make a motion that we ask for a peer review from Nick Laney so that Jamie can get going?
Yeah, I think that's,
We have a butters that want to chip in here?
they did ask to be invited. I have a list of three or four people. So,
I thought we had at least one on audio.
Yeah, hi guys and girls. I don't think I have any questions right now.
who is this? Please
No,
identify.
I'm sorry, Dave Morrissey,
Okay.
37 Cross Street. I don't think I have any questions right now. I'm not an engineer, so it, looks great on paper.
Okay,
Well, that's why we asked for a peer review.
Yeah.
For a second set of eyes to look at it, because everybody makes mistakes.
Sure.
Yep. Well, absolutely. We don't want there to be any mistakes either. In fact,
Right.
I'm more concerned with the mistake than probably anyone else. So,
yeah, and we don't want to hold up anybody unnecessarily either.
Yep.
So, and do we have no other abutters then? Doesn't sound like it. All right, and just once again to make it clear, this filing does not include the septic systems, even though they are
No.
conceptually drawn on the plan. So there isn't any misunderstanding.
correct.
Well, it doesn't include the lots either, just the
No,
roadway.
What it does include is the grading has to be done for the associated drainage.
Yep,
And the construction of the road, the crossings, and the drainage.
the drainage.
Yeah, those are the big ones. I don't know what is going to be built for houses, if they're going to be capes, colonials, or ranches. So until I'm given a true directive, I don't want to get an order of conditions and then have to change it and get an amended order for those. So I'd rather just submit when I have a definitive idea of what we're going to build for a house.
And Jamie, I have a question.
Yes, sir.
Is there any lot vegetation clearing, trees,
Yes.
bushes, whatever?
There are.
That's all part of this filing.
Yes, yeah. Joe, that's a great question. The answer should be yes. On this erosion control plan, you can see where the silt sock is going for the limit of work.
Yeah, limit of
And
work,
that-
I saw that, yeah.
That limit of work is going to be pretty hard set.
Okay,
For the simple fact that natural heritage is cutting us off pretty much right over at this point here.
Yep.
They're keeping towards the river and the brook under a CR is how they want it. So I believe that us setting up the erosion control as shown on this conservation restriction, so we can grade things appropriately, get the driveways constructed, get the drainage constructed and the replication areas constructed. Over in here as well, John had brought up if we were going to be putting any of our drainage water into the road, and we said no. Being able to grade this lot off appropriately to swale the water back is important as well. So we would like to have the ability to clear as much of the lots within the limit of work that we have set on this plan, and just not be able to construct the septics or houses or wells yet.
okay.
All right. So no other comments?
I made a motion.
I did, all right. Could you repeat it?
I make a motion that, we ask the applicant, we ask for a peer review of Nick Laney. That way, if the planning board, by the time they get to the planning board, they'll already have a peer review to go to the planning board with, actually.
Yeah.
Okay, is that it?
Second that.
Hey, Bob, I have one, this is Dave Morrissey again. I have one question for Jamie. Jamie, just for visual purposes, I know you've been to the site.
Yes.
That spot that's cleared, that's essentially where the driveway is gonna be, or pretty close?
The best thing I can tell you, Dave, is this, you can see this spot right in here.
Yeah,
Where my cursor's going, that is your existing septic system.
yeah,
So it's gonna go, the road, we have, we're putting in a 5-foot piece of, a 5-foot buffer piece over in here. And then we're starting the road beyond that. That'll go the next 40 feet beyond that. So that pushes the road a little bit further away from your septic system and your site.
okay, thanks. That's all I have.
All right, thank you. All right, then let's take a vote. Those in favor of the motion, of Nancy's motion, Joe,
Aye.
Mark is not absent. John?
Can I ask a question before I vote?
Yeah, sure.
Are we voting? We're not approving this. We're just asking for a peer review.
Right, that's all.
Do we want to approve this contingent on a peer review?
No, he's not even asking for approval right now. We
Okay.
gotta wait for Natural Heritage to come back.
We can make
He's
a
gonna
contingent
ask
on that.
about someone who's gonna oversee the wetland replication, or if it's all right for Jamie to do it, so we got a ways to go.
So should all that be in the motion?
No, oh, well, we make another motion to continue it to a time specific, but for now, let's get to one. I'm trying to do one motion at a time.
Yeah, we should limit this just to the peer review.
Okay, I'm in favor.
All right.
All right. Next, I make a motion that we continue, do we
Oh,
have
wait
it?
a minute, you didn't vote, Nancy, yet.
Oh, aye,
Uh,
sorry.
Okay, motion carries. Go ahead.
I make a motion that we continue to
The 9th is our
Ninth.
next.
June 9th at 7 o'clock.
Is that
Well,
too soon, Jamie?
Yeah,
Oh,
for a peer review.
Yeah.
well, it's not really a big
don't
one,
think-
right?
Yeah, I don't think that can we go with that meeting, and if Nick's not ready or if I'm not ready, I'll ask for a continuance.
Sure.
That's fine, yeah.
Yeah,
I appreciate that.
Yeah, we have no other applicants so far, so we may
Okay.
not even meet.
Okay.
All right, I'll second that.
All right, thank you.
So Mark said yes.
John,
Bill, you said yes?
John,
John, I'm sorry.
not Mark. Mark's better looking than me.
I got them reversed on my sheet, so I'll keep. All right, who's left?
Joe,
Did I get yours, Joe?
aye.
You guys are
Nancy has my proxy.
Who didn't I get?
Josh.
Yeah, thanks a lot. All right, so that motion passes.
Great. See you in a couple weeks. Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Hi,
Thank
Have a
you.
good
Dave.
night.
Take it easy.
Thank you.
All right, let's move on then. Next on the item is another NOI. This is for 103 Staple Shore Road by Prime Engineering.
Good evening. I do not have the capability of sharing a screen, so if maybe the commissioners can look at their packet. The project is basically rebuilding an existing wood frame dwelling. The existing dwelling is 910 square feet and is proposed to rebuild it in the same location, but the size is going to be 950 square feet. So it's essentially this same building and essentially the same footprint. Right now, it's below the floodplain level, the first floor is, and our proposal is to bring it up higher than the floodplain level. So the first floor is above the floodplain. And then as required by the regulations, we have to allow for vent holes to allow the flood waters to get in. So there's no undue pressure on the outside of the wall without a countermanding pressure on the inside. So you're required to have 1 square inch of opening for every square foot of floor area. So we've specified the elevations and the locations of the vents on the sides of the building so the floodwaters can go in and equalize. And then we specified the elevations of the vermin slab that's down at the ground level so the water can drain back out after the flood recedes. And that gives them about 1 foot 7 inches of clearance. So somebody can go in on a little creeper and go around to do any wiring or whatever. As you know, all the utilities have to be above the floodplain. And the other major thing that we're doing is right now there's an exceedance on the impervious area on this lot. So we're converting the existing impervious patio that's out against the pond into a lawn area, so it's pervious. And that brings the property back into compliance with the town's impervious maximum. We're going to be going in front of the Zoning Board of Appeals for a special permit to allow this reconstruction where this now doesn't conform to side yard setbacks. That's essentially what we're doing, bringing the house into flood compliant and bringing it into.
Whoops, Rich, what happened to you?
He loses internet?
No, he froze. I think something happened, and now he disappeared.
There he is.
There he is.
Wow. I stopped talking, so I went away. Okay, I'll keep talking. That's the end of my presentation.
All right. I had a question. I'm still trying to see if I can recall. You haven't drawn any erosion control on here, but that's much further down the road, so we don't really need that as.
It's a dashed line. If you go to the bottom property line, you can see that there are a whole series of little rectangles that run
Yep.
along that eastern property line, then along the retaining wall, and then along the driveway on the northwest side.
Oh, all right. All right, I found it now. The patio blocks that are there, would they remain, or is that?
No, the patio blocks come out and we
Yeah,
make it
they're
into
coming
a
out.
wall.
Yep.
Right. we make it that into a pond.
All right, I'm good. So let's go down the line here. Joseph?
Question, the existing building is 910 square feet, correct?
That's correct.
Is it going to be any larger than that?
It's going to be 950. It'll be
Oh,
40.
just a tiny little bit extra, okay.
Right.
What does the town allow you? 25% coverage,
Right, 25 impervious.
25 impervious, right, okay.
But they don't allow you to count the right-of-way easement as part of your lot area.
That's why
So-
you're taking out the paving
We're taking
patio
out
lot.
paving blocks, that's right, to
Okay.
comply with the zoning.
All right, John?
No other questions?
I don't have any questions. Straightforward.
Nancy?
I'm having a hard time believing this isn't in natural heritage.
I don't,
What's your concern, Nancy?
That's a natural heritage, so they need to send a plan to natural heritage and they need to have a comment. And
Even if-
usually anybody on the pond, it's the mussels that are endangered if you're working that close to the water.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't have a natural heritage map.
yeah, I don't, seems to me it did not fall, but I don't know the answer to that question.
Because the river's right there. They're the next to the last house before the pond, the river, the wetland in the back.
Yeah, I don't have in my folder.
Yeah, see,
a-
we can't go into the town hall, so I couldn't look for it either, actually.
I don't know that we have a file number, do we?
No, we don't.
So we're gonna have to continue to the next meeting, and if I had to notify Natural Heritage, I will do so, and obviously they need 30 days to comment.
But we can always approve it pending their comments, but you have to at least get it to them.
Well, you need the file number.
Right.
So we better just continue it. I understood from the owner this morning that there was no rush to start construction.
Right, I don't think he, I checked off no for Natural Heritage, but I will double check that.
Okay.
I will too. I will too.
Okay.
So I make a motion. Oh, do we have anybody else that wants to?
So
Any about it?
your vote is yes to approve. No, yeah, excuse me.
I was gonna make a motion to continue. Everybody's done talking.
Yeah, all right.
I'll
All right,
second
so
that.
I'm pending the receipt of a file number and verification of natural heritage. I make a motion to continue to June 9th at 7 PM.
Okay,
Second.
Perfect.
okay, so Joe. I or
Aye.
no? Mark is not here. John,
Aye.
Nancy,
Aye.
and myself. All right, so the motion carries.
Okay, thank you very much.
Okay, Rick.
Thank you.
Have a good evening.
You too.
Oh, thank you. We'll be in touch. All right, and our third is an RDA for 30 Montgomery Street, and that's with Nancy Kitchen. She's still with us, I hope.
Yeah, I'm still here.
Oh, okay, hi.
I submitted the application because we have an opportunity to purchase some backland from Kim, excuse me, from Kim Jeswald. She lives at 24 Montgomery Street, and she has 4.4 acres of backland that she's interested in selling, and we are one of the abutters. But in order for us to access that property that abuts us, we have a drainage ditch that is about probably 10 or 12 feet off the property line that we would need to cross in order to access that land. And I would like to have a determination if this falls under the purview of wetlands and engineering, et cetera, before I purchase the property, depending on the cost to cross this drainage ditch. And the drainage ditch, I did look it up on the GIS maps, and the drainage ditch is runoff water that comes from the property, would be 26 Montgomery Street.
Correct, I agree.
So, yep, it just comes, it dries up in the summertime, and it's just runoff water from stormwater, or any excess water. So I guess I'm asking, is it possible for us to put a culvert in that drainage ditch and bring in fill to be able to cross that ditch?
Okay, I'm not sure you would actually need Phil to do that, but we would need an estimate from you if that was going to be the case, how much material you'd be bringing in. But we should clarify that this drainage ditch is seasonal. It's not continuous. It's probably is within the buffer zone of the adjacent wetland, but you're going to be far enough away that I don't think it's an issue. You could probably, with the right kind of vehicle, you could cross the drainage ditch, but this way here, there'll be a whole lot less impact if you put in the culverts. So I would recommend going that route.
My comment is, first of all, I have a question. Would you contemplate building a dwelling on this property, or just add to your existing property?
Possibly at some time in the future, we might put a house over there for a
Okay.
family member, because it would connect to our driveway.
Okay.
So it's,
Now, I believe, and Bob, I'm sure you could clarify this for me. Chapter 131, Section 40, the Wetlands Act allows for accessing rear of property, correct?
Correct.
Because we have a lot of areas, rural roads, where to build the road, they just scooped out material from the side and left all these little gutters and so forth.
Mhm.
And it's very common to build on that road, a particular road, you'd have to have all these crossings. And it's basically just a little bit of fill, and you get a 18 or 24-inch culvert, and
Yeah, and that's it.
do a little, erosion control, and you're good to go.
Yeah, if you wanted to put a larger structure or some kind of a bridge or whatever, the environmental impact on that is much more significant. I don't think you really gain anything from it. I think this is a better, simpler solution, given the amount of traffic that is likely to occur.
We would certainly want to have some kind of plan showing, what you'd want to do, how far the ends of the culvert, the invert and the outlet were, where it would be in the water table, depending what the water table is there and so forth, methods of construction, that sort of thing. But that's actually a relatively minor thing for an engineer to do.
Yeah.
okay.
John?
So the only thing that would be crossing there would be residential traffic, essentially.
Correct.
Yeah, I don't have any problem with it.
Yancy?
Well, I had a couple of things. One thing was a butter notification. I mean, with an RDA, you don't get that. It gets into the paper, but you don't get, looks like, when I looked at the GIS map, it looks like there's a stream over there. But I don't know how close that is. Does a stream come out of that wetland, Bob? Were you there?
Yes, it does.
And how close was it to the stream? I mean, now you're talking about,
To the wetland, to the The edge of the
Where they're doing the crossing, is the house close as the stream?
I think it's 10 to 12 feet from the property line to the crossing. And from there, going in the other direction, it's maybe, I don't know, 40, 50 feet to the wetland line itself.
All right, because on the plan that we got, it says 20 feet from the property line. And my question is, there are two butters on either side, the Nelsons, where the water's coming off of, it appears. And then whoever Harold Card is, I looked it up on the assessors map to try to match how this property fit in with the other ones. And because we have so much trouble in the past from abutters and complaining about water going on their property, these abutters weren't notified that this was going to be happening, and how is their property going to be impacted?
The primary abutter is actually the person who's selling the property. Am I
Well, actually, no. On the north side is where it's going to drain to is somebody named Harold Card.
Yeah, he owns the cranberry bogs. He
Yeah,
lives on
cranberry bogs.
Barstow Street.
Yeah.
He owns the cranberry bogs beside us.
Okay.
And the Nelsons are on the other side, and
Right.
Kim Jeswald owns the property that we are
Right, and then
looking to
there's
purchase.
Okay. And
But we
there's
wouldn't
another one
be,
out.
we wouldn't be changing any direction of the water or any flow of the water.
Nancy, you still with us?
Yeah, well, I'm thinking.
All right, I'm
It's a
sorry.
long process.
Want to intrude.
Just kind of agree with Joe. We need to kind of know what's going on. And this plan that came with us doesn't even show where the wetland or anything is. I just don't think the plan that we got with this RDA doesn't look like any other plan we've ever had. It's not even stamped by the assessors.
Well, I just drew up something quickly to ask how much I would have to go through to be able to purchase this property. It's backland. It adds to our property, but I don't want to go into tens of thousands of dollars to be able to cross a drainage ditch.
Yeah.
What you want to know right now is, you filed a request for determination of applicability. I think
Correct.
we're going to give you a positive determination, meaning that it does involve the wetlands regulations, but I would say in a minor way.
Okay.
I mean, it's not like you're building, a crossway large enough for a be-out kitchen,
No.
Yeah.
No,
that's
not at
actually
all.
That's the function of an RDA.
Right.
In this case, given the things we're talking about, it looks like when you get to that stage, we're going to need probably an NOI that defines the channel, all the specifics to the culvert, the abutters, et cetera.
Yeah.
But
Right.
that's not a great burden. I don't see why we wouldn't approve something like that, not without any major costs.
Okay.
Right, I agree with that. I
and
do agree
Nancy
with that, but
Kitchen?
it's hard to answer this RDA when what was asked for, B, whether the boundaries of the resource areas depicted on the plan referenced below are accurately delineated, because we don't have that.
Yeah, and I think Nancy's original question to us was, is it feasible? Should I proceed with this, or does it look like it's a dead end and I'd be wasting my time and money trying to pursue it? And we're saying, no, it looks like it's reasonable.
Okay.
All right, so I'm just trying to look what to do for a motion here. I guess it would be a +1. The +1 says the area described on the reference plan is an area subject to protection under the Act. Requires a filing of a notice of intent.
That's it.
Okay.
Okay, so I
Okay.
make a motion that we issue a positive determination number 1.
Second.
Okay, let's vote. Joseph,
Aye.
John,
Aye.
Nancy?
Aye.
All right, and I'm going to vote aye. So the motion carries. And we'll get you the paperwork in by next week.
And it really shouldn't be a really big deal for that, for the
Not at
animal.
all.
Okay.
No, no, no.
Especially since the regulations, have a provision for accessing back land, just for that
Yeah.
purpose.
And you,
Okay.
you provide us with a plan that shows the location of all
Yeah,
the
you,
significant features.
you will have to hire an engineer,
Okay.
and
Well,
they'll have to do an engineered plan, but it shouldn't be a big deal.
Right,
Okay.
just a small project.
Yeah,
okay.
it's more for the survey work than anything.
Right, right.
And I wish to note at this point that Nancy Kitchen is indeed in her kitchen.
I am.
You've been waiting all night to drop that one?
It just dawned on me, she's in her kitchen. I can see what looks like a
I am
refrigerator
in
or
my
something.
kitchen. I spend a lot of time there.
There you go. As we
All
all
right.
do these days.
Well, that gives me an answer and a starting point.
Yes.
Good.
All right.
All right, well, thank you. Good luck.
All right.
Thanks, Nancy.
All right. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye, Nancy.
Bye, Nancy.
All right, one brief thing. I don't know if you had a chance to look at it, but I left a few copies of the plans for the revised plans for 110 Highland. I spoke a little bit about this in our last meeting, that they made a few minor revisions. They actually decreased the size of the footprint of the new house. They tweaked the location of the driveway, and I think there was one other item, but the changes were minor. So if you had a chance to look at it and you agree, fine. If not, please say so. Otherwise, what I'm going to do is send a recommendation that it proceed.
Sounds good.
Okay.
Okay.
Yep.
So everyone in agreement?
Yes.
Yep.
Do you need a
Yes.
motion?
Yeah, let's do it. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
None. So, all right, motion carries. That's all I've got.
Motion to adjourn.
Sounds
Second.
good to me. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.